KXBS 92.1 FM, The Voice of Stockton.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Now, when I say good evening, I'm talking about those people who are happy with their taxes. This is, if you're watching live, this is April 15th of 2019. I try to remember to mention the date because we're only on the air about once every other week. And in the last 6 months, we've only been on the air about once every third week. The schedule's going to get back to every other week here, starting with the month of May. We're going to be pretty consistent with that. But anyway, so if you're watching live, of course you know what day it is. But if you wind up watching this live, if you wind up watching this archival streaming or something like that, this show is on April 15th. It'll be a little bit shorter show tonight. The previous show, which has a vast listening audience and is the heart of TVOSJ broadcasting with our wonderful Betty here. We had a visitor coming from out of town that had a challenge finding the studio, so we wanted to make sure they got on the air, having traveled, I think, all the way from Livermore. And so our show is going to be a little bit shorter tonight because we're going on a little bit later. We're not going to extend it. And we know that probably there's a light viewing audience for this tonight. Excuse me. That came out of nowhere. We know there's probably a lighter viewing audience tonight anyway because of the fact that this is tax day and many people are probably scrubbing through their receipts and looking through their checkbooks and trying to sort out their hidden file drawer to get their taxes done tonight. I'm happy to say my taxes were completed earlier today. They were actually completed a couple weeks ago, but they were submitted today. I'm actually getting a small refund, so I can't complain too much. I know this is going to be an interesting year for a lot of people, though, but we're not going to talk politics tonight. We generally don't do that with the Stockton Alive, and we won't start tonight. I'm going to rattle through a couple of events that were big events just in the past couple of weeks, and then we're going to one thing we were going to talk about tonight, we're going to put off to the next show, which is a discussion of the various chamber organizations here in Stockton. That will be something you can know that we're going to talk about in the next show. We're going to talk about and define a little bit the four major chambers of commerce that we have in Stockton, which are the Greater Stockton Chamber of Commerce, the Hispanic Stockton San Joaquin County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and the San Joaquin Stockton the Central Valley Asian American Chamber, and then the African American Chamber. And we'll tell you a little bit about what each of those chambers features, but that will be on the next show. And we're also on the next show going to talk about the League of Women's Voters, the Philomathian Club, a very historic Stockton organization. Has been around. It's now approaching its 126th year. That's pretty remarkable. Last year they had their 125th year anniversary. I want to say it was in May. I don't remember exactly the month. I was lucky enough to go to that Stockton Golf and Country Club. We'll also talk about something that I didn't really know existed until pretty recently, but it's a pretty interesting organization, the San Joaquin County Genealogical Society. And we'll talk about the San Joaquin County Historical Society, which is located at Mickey Grove Park. And they have a spectacular museum related to agriculture. However, that's for the next show. So tonight, what we're going to talk about. Yesterday in Stockton, now this varies from city to city, county to county, but Stockton's version of Earth Day, which was our 31st Earth Day, was yesterday, Sunday, April 14th, here in Stockton at Victory Park, a beautiful park in Stockton, in the middle of which is a tremendous museum called the Hagen Museum, which is a world-class museum, which has paintings, sculptures. It has recreations of Chinatown in Stockton, where they actually recreated some storefronts. It has a spectacular wooden lacquered yacht. Stockton was once one of the major cities in the world for building private yachts. That was up into the late 70s when, unfortunately, outsourcing of jobs to other countries with cheaper labor and environmental laws kind of closed in on Stockton, and we lost our shipbuilding industry. We still have marine-based sales organizations that are very prosperous here in Stockton. And then, that's in the park that the Earth Day was in. Now, this year's Earth Day had a theme, bus, bike, and hike. And the idea was they wanted people to use active transportation or public transportation to go to the event and not drive their car. And so, anyway, and since I, of course, work for the San Joaquin Regional Transit District, I'm a transit person anyway, I certainly did not drive yesterday. I walked to the park from my house, which is within walking distance. Then I used an RTD shuttle service to go to our community college known as Delta College, located on our Pacific Avenue and Yocutz Lane, a very key intersection in Stockton, near March Lane, I might add, also next to 2 malls that we have. And from there, I walked over to my church, and then from the church after the service, which was Palm Sunday, I then was able to catch a bus that took me back to Delta College, and then I walked over a few yards on Delta College and took the shuttle back to the event. And that was important because I was going to be on stage for the event to receive, for San Joaquin RTD, receive a congressional certificate about RTD service. And the reason for that is because we don't just run a transit system. We operate diesel-electric hybrid buses that are about 98% emissions-free and have terrific fuel mileage. And then we also run electric buses. We're one of the leading transit systems in the nation for operating all electric buses. So we're very green and environmental in that respect. So I needed to be there to pick up a wonderful certificate from our local representative, U.S. representative, the House of Representatives, Jerry McNerney. But I was able to do the whole thing with walking and transit. The event itself is wonderful. It has many vendors' booths. It has food. It has light drinks such as soft drinks, lemonade, punch, ice cone. I forgot what the ice cone drinks are. Slushy type drinks. And then there's a lot of vendors there. There's some crafts vendors, but there's a lot of public affairs type vendors and information vendors. And a lot of things have to do with earth, of course, such as recycling. And we had terrific entertainment there. The music was spectacular. We had the Chavez Jazz Band. Then we had the Cesar Chavez This is Cesar Chavez High School in Stockton, located on Holman Road. They also brought their mariachi band, which is quite accomplished. They played. And then the University of the Pacific Brubeck Jazz Ensemble came and played. For those of you who remember the great song Take 5, well, that comes from Stockton and the University of Pacific, in that Dave Brubeck, the great musician who did that song, the Brubeck Quartet, I believe it was called at the time, they are famous to this day. That's one of the most famous songs in the world, is Take 5. And it originated from the group that came to University of Pacific in Stockton. And that song was first played, I believe, in 1959. Now, Dave Brubeck himself did not write that song. I believe it's his drummer who wrote it. I think so. Now, I'm not positive. It could have been his saxophone player. We can certainly make sure we correct that on another broadcast, make sure we confirm it and get it right. But anyway, his band, however, is the one that performed it and made it famous, and it's their song. And then we had an interesting band called the Bad Goods. They were hilarious because they're very talented musically, and their songs have great tunes and terrific drummer playing really hard. It's very aggressive, wonderful, beautiful music, but all of the lyrics have to do with being green. And they did a song about recycling. There's a recycling revolution all over the nation, and that whole song rhymed, by the way, and it was terrific. They had another song called Electric Cars. Then they had a hilarious song about chocolate milk and cookies. And another song was called The Market Farmer's Daughter. That was an interesting song. So anyway, they did a couple other good ones too that I can't quite think of right now what the names of the songs were, but they were hilarious. So it was a very successful Earth Day out at Victory Park here in Stockton. A lot of people came. Now, it was up against some strong challenges because we're going to mention some other great events. After all, this show is called Stockton Alive because we feature what goes on in Stockton, and we try to talk about the celebration of our great city. Well, on the same day, Sunday, April 14th, we had the third day of the 3-day Asparagus Festival, which is something that's unique to Stockton, and it's considered one of the best food festivals in all of California, and that says a lot, because it's the Garlic Festival in Hollister, California. And then there's a couple big ones in Southern California I can't think of the name of right now. But anyway, Stockton's Asparagus Festival was ranked I think one year it got the award as the best food festival in the state by Sunset Magazine. So it's not a slouch. Now, it used to be held at Oak Grove Regional Park in North Stockton. Then it moved to downtown Stockton for a run of about 12 years. But that was always a challenge because of closing off streets and having to fence things off. And it was a very expensive event to do downtown. So now it's actually a privately operated, that was a nonprofit organization that did that with some subsidy from the city of Stockton and San Joaquin County. Now it's done as a private event at the San Joaquin County Fairgrounds by a great promoter named Tony Nassetti, who also restored NASCAR auto racing to Stockton with our Highway 99 Auto Speedway. And he also does racing, go-karts and midget racing at our San Joaquin County Fairgrounds. So the Asparagus Festival is in its fourth year now as a privately operated event. It's been profitable every year, and the attendance is over 100,000 in 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The first year they started with just a very brief, I think the first year was Saturday, Sunday only. Then the next year it was Friday night, and then all day Saturday and Sunday. Now it's all day, last year and this year, all day Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then we had the Cambodian New Year. There's a fair number of places in the United States where you have a large Asian population or Southeast Asian population, but Stockton is certainly one of the centers for this in all of the United States of America. I mean, you talk about diversity, Stockton has diversity. We obviously have a large Hispanic population, which is now the plurality, largest of the plurality of the populations. Approximately 42 or 43% of Stockton's population is Hispanic. It's about 30% Caucasian white people, and then you have African American around 8 or 9%, and we have also Chinese and Japanese people, and I almost left out one of our largest segments of population is Filipino. In fact, Stockton has the second largest Filipino population in the United States after New York City. Fairly remarkable thing. Stockton was once known, had a great neighborhood once known as Little Manila. So we certainly have our diversity here because now we have the Southeast Asian also. And their big Cambodian New Year was held this year at a spectacular temple that's out on Carpenter Road in the rural and the actual farming community that's out by Carpenter Road in Stockton, east of Highway 99, south of downtown, a little bit north of our airport. So all those events are going on the same day. I mean, that's pretty remarkable. There was other events going on, too, that I can't think of at this moment that I don't have written down. So that was just yesterday. We had a major awards dinner for the community held by the Asian American Chamber of Commerce, Central Valley Asian American Chamber of Commerce. As I mentioned in the beginning of our show, we're going to highlight chambers on the next show. In that particular one, it's an annual award dinner where they give recognition to major organizations and businesses in the community who do great things. This year, they honored Red Wing Shoes of Stockton. For those of you who don't know about Red Wing Shoes, that's the last major shoe brand that you can buy throughout the whole United States that is made in the USA. These shoes are made in Red Wing, Minnesota. And they're famous the world over. I was in Frankfurt, Germany a year ago, and we saw the Red Wing store in Frankfurt. And they sell a lot of shoes there, and the people want those shoes in Germany because they're made in the USA. And they pay a premium for it, too, I'll tell you. The same shoes you can buy here cost 30% more in Germany, and they still can barely keep the shelves stocked because people love the shoes so much, especially work boots, steel toe shoes, and the like. So anyway, in that awards, also the student music group from Edison High School, a dancing group, received a major award. They I want to say it was, I believe it was a form of Native American dance and Polynesia, but I'll have to go back and check on that. We're going to confirm that next show. And then an organization known as the Downtown Comeback Club of Stockton also received several awards. In that awards dinner, certificates were given out from, this is very impressive, City of Stockton, signed by the City Council and the Mayor. San Joaquin County Board of Supervisors provided certificates. State Senator Kathleen Galgiani provided certificates. The Controller of the State of California, without being asked, sent certificates to this event. That's Betty T. Yee. And then U.S. Representative Jerry McNerney also awarded certificates during that awards dinner, which was held at the China Palace. It was sold out, 300 plus people. So that's the bulk of what we're going to talk about here today. I want to remind everyone, of course, this is now the Voice of Stockton, TVOSJ. We used to have call letters KXVS, but we are expanding our operations, and the call letters have switched over to another organization, those call letters, while we have taken on the handle of the Voice of Stockton. And that is because we are expanding. We'll have a much bigger reach. And not only we continue to have our live streaming on social media and our archival videos and radio shows that you can listen to and watch, but we are at some point going to be broadcasting live FM. And that's one reason for the change in our handle, our video and audio handle of the Voice of Stockton, is for a lot of technical reasons. That's our new name, and that will allow us to go on live FM broadcasting. I don't have a date for that, and I don't know too much about that, and that's still under a lot of development. So, just to repeat, in the past few days, and all three of these events were on Sunday, we had Earth Day, 31st Annual Earth Day for Stockton. We had the Cambodian New Year at a shrine, and our shrine is one of the oldest in the United States, by the way, and one of the biggest, out on Carpenter Road in South Stockton, east of Highway 99. And then we had the highly successful 3-day full weekend Stockton Asparagus Festival, now held at the San Joaquin County Fairgrounds. In fact, it's officially now known as the San Joaquin County Asparagus Festival, or San Joaquin Asparagus Festival, operated by promoter Tony Nassetti and his wonderful staff, and hosted at the San Joaquin County Fairgrounds out on Airport Way and Martin Luther King Boulevard in Stockton, and a very successful event. So, again, to repeat what we're going to talk about in our next show, if you were tuned in as a live person, we came a little later, about 6:40 p.m., and we're now leaving the air here momentarily. And then our regular airtime is 6 to 7. Our next show, I don't know if it'll be next Monday or the following one. I believe it's going to be the following Monday, which would be April the 29th. There is a chance we might be on next week, but that show will most likely be probably the full hour. And on that particular show, among other things, we're going to feature our chambers of commerce that we have in the Stockton area, which includes the Greater Stockton Chamber, the Hispanic Chamber, the Central Valley Asian Chamber, and the African American Chamber. And with that, thanks to the wonderful help of our stand-in engineer, Betty, who, of course, always brings us her live audience, it's time for us to tune out now, and time for us to roll on our way so the other regular programming can continue. And so we thank you for having tuned in to us, and we wish you a wonderful day. And at this time, we'll be leaving the air here shortly. We thank you for the fact that you've been tuning in loyally to us, and you've been patient with our show since it has not been on every single Monday. There's a chance that we will go weekly somewhere down the road, but I still work a full-time job. Please remember that everyone at the TVOSJ is a volunteer, and we thank you so much for being on the air. And at this time, we will bid you a wonderful tax night. We hope you're getting your taxes done. We hope it's all wonderful. And please, I hope you're getting a return. If you have to pay, hopefully you saved up for it and you were prepared. And with that, we close the book on another show of TVOSJ Stockton Alive. Thank you very much. Have a great night.
And you are listening to your community radio station right here off the Miracle Mile in Stockton, California, the voice of San Joaquin. TVOSJ.org.
Cuando tú vas caminando, el viento lo ondulando. Cuando yo